There was a time in gaming history when mashing buttons 5 times a second, shouting at the screen, sweating through impossible boss fights, and celebrating every victory with your best friends just standing right beside you was simply derouting. And we loved every second of it. Before online multiplayer, before battle passes, before membership, before open worlds became the standard, there was a game genre that brought friends together, 2 joysticks and few buttons to push. Welcome to the golden age of beat-em-ups, a game genre that dominated the hearts of players for at least 1 decade and then disappeared just overnight. How and why? Today we're going to explore the complete history of beat-em-ups, also known as brawlers, from their birth to the modern time, and see what happened even today. So let's get started. Before understanding why beat-em-ups came out as a genre and basically it got many players, their fun, their heart, even their soul, we just have to figure out how the game industry was basically in the 70s. Before beat-em-ups existed, just getting to the playroom or having even a console for games at home meant playing something like Space Invaders, Pac-Man, Galaga, Donkey Kong. So just games like that genre. Games were basically combat, fighting something abstract. Players weren't fighting people. They were just, shooting aliens, avoiding ghosts, jumping barrels. Traditional gaming, before the age of beat 'em up, rarely looked beyond the standard formula of exploring maps and fighting oncoming enemies. Why there was so many video games set in space? At least for 2 reasons. First, space could be represented by a black background, so there's no parallax or image to move. This was the only thing possible from the devices of the time. The second reason is also very interesting. In an era marked by space explorations and multiculturalism, people used to feel like children of the world, now even children of the stars. Games like these used to carry on with that dream. But later, something changed. People wanted to feel like a hero while playing games. Now, in this chapter, so let's have a look at when this game basically started to came out with the first ideas about how to develop a kind of different game genre. And here we have a game called Heavyweight Champ, 1966, one of the earliest games focused on hand-to-hand fighting. But then, in 1984, the game changer came out, and it was Kung Fu Master. This is where everything really began. Instead of isolated fights, you walked through level. Enemies kept coming. You punched, kicked, jumped, rescued the girls. Simple, brilliant. That game established many conventions of the upcoming beat 'em up. Now, as a game developer, just let me mention, guys, how hard it was at that time just to simply move a background or a parallax or two parallaxes on screen. Drawing an entire full screen image and moving entirely was nearly impossible in real time. We are talking about 1984. Even sometimes moving a smaller portion of the screen may also cause us jitters. Why I'm going to say this? Because basically at that time, computer developer had to focus on how to make the gameplay possible. Although Kung Fu Master is probably the real beat-em-up game, Renegade is widely recognized as the first modern beat-em-up or scrolling brawler. It fundamentally changed video games by introducing multi-directional movement, the concept of brawling crowds, and complex combat mechanics that paved the way for games like Double Dragon. After the initial Japanese release, the developer Yoshihisa Kishimoto altered the graphics to resemble the gritty street gangs from the cult classic 1979 film The Warriors. This established the popular urban vigilante theme that defined future 80s and 90s action games. We've just seen games like Kung Fu Master and Renegade as predecessor of the beat-em-up game genre. But these games, in particular Kung Fu Masters, got inspired by a legendary movie. After this Bruce Lee movie, Kung Fu Master game introduced the boss concept. Every floor of the 5th story Devil's Temple ended with a unique boss. These fights require players to learn attack patterns and timing, a core concept in game design that heavily influenced later fighting games. In fact, the game's designer Takeshi Nishihama later went to design the legendary Street Fighter. It's nice to see that the beat 'em up wasn't born in isolation. This game genre arrived during the golden age of action cinema. Think about names like Bruce Lee. At the beginning, I think he was the first. Then Chuck Norris, Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Lorenzo Lamas, Steven Seagal, urban gangs, street justice, martial arts, lone heroes, exploding warehouses, factories full of criminals. So, movies inspired games, and games inspired more movies.
Must be somewhere. Welcome me into the fold. Blooming flowers, as much as I can hold.
Let's have a look at 9 of the most beautiful and iconic beat-em-up game of the end of the 80s and early 90s, starting with Double Dragon. Released in 1987 by Technos Japan, Double Dragon arcade game revolutionized gaming by popularizing the cooperative beat-em-up genre. It introduced simultaneous two-player co-op action, interactive weapons, and gritty urban settings that set the blueprint for arcade hits for the next decade. This game allowed two friends to fight side by side against waves of enemies rather than taking turns. Double Dragon enabled also players to disarm enemies and use weeds, knives, or heavy objects like barrels. It was built on earlier belt-scrolling concept to let players freely navigate deep, side-scrolling urban environments. Double Dragon established the gold standard for brawlers, paving the way for legendary titles like Final Fight, Golden Axe, and Street of Rage. It also spawned massive home console conversions like the NES, a cartoon series, and a feature film.
Why they mad at a man like me? I went too crazy. Better take that knee and kiss my ring, cause I be royalty. Everywhere I go, my scene.
One thing was in common among all the games we're going to mention today: music. Of course, we're talking about the 80s, and Dragon Ninja had some of the best music ever appears in game history. Dragon Ninja came out in 1988. Amazing music soundtracks, catchy gameplay. The title has been released in North America as Bad Dude vs. Dragon Ninja, while when the original title was just Dragon Ninja in Japan. This game defined late 80s macho man video game culture with over-the-top martial arts action.
Got it.
Energy, action, superlative sprite design, memorable soundtrack. In just 2 words, pure fun.
I'm bad.
Massive, big animated characters on the screen, spectacular urban environments, addictive gameplay. Running on Capcom's CPS-1 hardware, Final Fight pushed crisp graphics, vibrant colors, and a heavy, memorable electronic soundtrack. And the given sensation was literally the connection between action movies and action games. Distinct playable characters with unique magic system, mountable creatures and cooperative gameplay that defined an era of arcade and home console gaming. Moving away from 3D urban street brawlers like Double Dragon, director Makoto Ushida blended high fantasy elements inspired by Conan the Barbarian and The Lord of the Rings. The gameplay was absolutely immersive, the final stage was unique and genius, and the ending still remains one of the most memorable endings ever seen in gaming. Initially designed for 16-bit home console masterpiece for the Sega Mega Drive Genesis in late 1992, but it was also later released by Sega's Mega Play system. It became a landmark title because it perfected the side-scrolling beat-em-up genre, blending arcade-quality action, deep mechanics, and a legendary electronic soundtrack into one definitive package. Inspired by fighting games like Street Fighter II, the developers added unique moves like special blitz attacks and combo rhythms that went far beyond simple button mashing. Street of Rage 2 combined all the classic beat-em-up ingredients in a new, perfected, frenetic gameplay. And now, even more than before, it was possible to play both at the arcade and at home at the same level. Street of Rage 2 is an authentic example of how developers spend time improving the gameplay mechanics. Perhaps a lesson for today.
Pizza Power!
A vibrant, cartoon-accurate art style paired with legendary, upbeat arcade music that fans still celebrate. It perfected the 4-player arcade format, letting friends playing together for fast-paced group fun. This is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Turtles in Time, released by Konami in 1991. Detailed sprite animations, advanced sound, both effects and music, dynamic gameplay, and a lot of fun. We are now far from the action movie's mood, but closer to a typical early 90s pop culture with athletic and streetwear brands.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, our 4 reptilian heroes, have overcome the arch villain Shredder.
Capcom's 1993 Cadillacs and Dinosaurs represent the absolute peak of the golden age of arcade side-scrolling beat-em-ups, combining fluid combat mechanics, gorgeous sprite arts, firearms integration, and a uniquely bizarre post-apocalyptic setting. This game show us detailed sprite animations for both enemies and roaming prehistoric wildlife, pushing Capcom's CPS-1 hardware to its limits. Cadillac and Dinosaurs features a memorable rock fusion soundtrack that matches the frantic action. The game perfected the formula seen in Final Fight, adding diverse movesets, running attacks, and smooth multi-button combat. The game ending is another great example of how games were changing from simple gameplay into deeper storytelling, showcasing the upcoming trends we've seen since the early 90s.
Ninja, Ryugen.
As we mentioned earlier, game developers wanted to get closer to a cinematic experience, despite the hardware and software limitations, and they tried to design with this goal in mind. And that's been the case also of Ninja Gaiden, released by Tecmo in 1988. Instead of traditional feudal Japan, the game dropped a ninja into modern Western locales like San Francisco, New York, and Las Vegas to fight an apocalyptic cult. Capcom's 1994 Alien vs. Predator arcade game is a masterpiece of the beat-em-up game genre. It combined fluid combat, stunning sprite graphics, and a unique alliance of human and predator heroes fighting xenomorphs. It set a high watermark for licensed arcade games before fading into licensed limbo. Running on Capcom's CPS2 hardware, it featured massive detailed sprite, gorgeous special effects, and relentless, chaotic screen-filling action without sacrificing playability. Exceptional soundtracks and audio systems, stunning graphic, animated sprite and VFX constantly shook up the gameplay with varied enemy types, mini bosses, and dynamic set pieces like riding an armored personal carrier. And after a wonderful introduction, we're gonna watch the game ending now, which is pure cinematic. I know people today used to play games online. It's fine. You start playing at home, connecting with many other people all over the world. It's huge. It's nice. It's really cool. Back then, it was more social because people used to play shooter to shooter. One friend, one cabinet, one screen, one pizza if they were at home, one mission, finish the game, fighting all the bosses. Celebrating together, sharing lives, talking even the day next about the same game, or even for a week, even for, think about that, guys, even after decades, talking about those games there. People used to spend, and I did too with my friends, yeah, basically, people used to spend time at home before going to the playroom. Why? Because at home was for free. Instead, going to the playroom, it was cost money. Yeah, every match, every time you wanted to play game at that time at the playroom cost money. So you just have to buy a coin, just insert the coin up to the machine and start playing. And if you lose the life, one more coin. So it was cost money. But at the playroom, you've had better screen, better graphic, better controls, better sounds, better and greatest environment. So we used to, train ourselves at home with consoles and then get to the playroom and playing with a different machine in a different environment with other guys, or in competition sometimes with other guys that was there for the same purpose, winning. Many gamers, they're gonna buy games, but they don't even play them. Or if they start playing them, they don't finish them. I think it's sad. Because back in the days, I remember that we used to play so many times the same game. Even if you know the entire story, if you know the game since the beginning till the end, but we used to play so many times because it was so funny to play and play and play that game again. For some reason, many people got bored nowadays while playing. I don't think it's about the industry, or maybe, yeah, partially yes. The industry has some responsibility about it. I think a lot is about the gameplay, because I understand an open world where you basically can do everything into it is fantastic. You can literally leave the game, but gameplay is crucial to have fun. And, playing a beat 'em up game, hitting these funny guys, those funny enemies on the screen, big bosses, so grotesque sometimes, with your friends, with your best friends, or other guys, yeah, you're gonna meet at the playroom and then play together was so incredible, so emotional. The same fun that I've got at that time, it's hard for me to find it even today. It wasn't because people suddenly stopped enjoying them. Several other things happened simultaneously, and arcades started disappearing. Without arcades, there was less demand for short, replayable games. Between the early 90s and the half of the 90s, there was one magical word that, and to be honest, yeah, it's been for me too, but in a different way. That word sounds magical like the AI sounds today, and it was a simple word, even 2 letters, called 3D, third dimension, 3 dimension. Why? Because games before was basically just sprite printed on the screen in a 2-dimensional way. So many classic beat 'em ups strike gold to transition successfully into 3D. And I tell you why. Because if I'm gonna think about a 3D graphic at that time, it was nice for some games, yeah, basically. It doesn't make any sense for me. I beat 'em up games in an open world style, in 3D. That kind of technology should be applied for other game genre. It might be fantasy, it might be sci-fi, it might be kind of TPS, yeah, third-person shooter, third-person exploration, horror games, first-person shooter or exploration, but not in an arcade classic shoot 'em up game, because the fun fact is like having those kind of grotesque figure, as I mentioned before, a game where basically you just have to insert, press a couple of buttons and start fighting really hard, and jumping and then exploring and everything and go on. That's the fun. It can't be reproduced different. Any beat 'em up game should be side-scrolling, even pixel art. Players started wanted longer games, especially at home. Doesn't matter about the playroom. Playroom, of course, yeah, you can't stay there for hours and hours and hours. You have to get there, have fun, playing 20 minutes, 30 minutes for a game, maybe with your friends, and then change a game and then try another one. But at home, yeah, players, even rightly, wanted to have even longer games. Because at home, you want to enjoy those type of games. You have time. It's a kind of intimate relation with that game. It makes a lot of sense. I love it too. The DNA of the beat 'em up games never disappeared. It simply evolved. And let's have a look at even the modern revival. Because even nowadays, something unexpected happened. Few titles of the past came back even today. And you can play them, you can find them even on Steam. Independent developers or small studios remembered why these games were fun. And they started make some remake of Street of Rage 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for instance, Shredder Revenge, Fight and Rage, River City Girls, Absolum. We've seen this genre disappear because of the technology evolution, because of the industry evolution. Technology moved from 2D games to 3D games, even at that time in the half of 90s. Online multiplayer replaced the local co-op, just playing together. Games, especially at home, became longer. However, do you really think that we really need sometimes an open world game to have fun? Or playing for hundreds of hours? I mean, sometimes yes, for my opinion, yes. Because sometimes I want to play an open world because I love them. I want to also immerse myself in a long story. But on the other side, sometimes I really want to start playing for half an hour and have a lot of fun straight away. I don't need a battle pass. I don't need expensive membership. But especially I don't want to be a slave of a system that tell me what to play, that tell me how much does that cost. My fun is mine, has no price. Sometimes all I need is just playing with my friends. It's just remember maybe even my childhood. And sometimes having a look at the street out there, I just want to say, hey, there are so many bad guys there that have to be defeated. Well guys, this is also the end for this video, and just let me tell you that I've got a lot of fun while making this video. And I wanted to make a video about beat 'em up games because I've got so much fun back in the day just playing these type of games. And I hope you can even enjoy if you have the occasion to play them, because trust me, try to play them and let me know if you try. Even just come back to me here in the video, in this channel, and let me know in the comment below if you say, hey Max, do you know what? You were right. Or maybe you were wrong. No, maybe you don't like them. That's okay. But I'm quite sure that if you start playing them, you're gonna get some emotion. Not just fun, even some emotions, compared to the modern gameplay and the modern games. But as I said, let's have a try. Let's have a chance. And just come back to see me and say, okay, Max, this is what I think, because I'm curious. And if you know instead those games, let me know straight away, right now in the comment below. As always, Max Capano here. Thank you very, very, very much for watching me. And as always, happy gaming. See you in the next video. All the best. Thank you. Bye. Bye-bye.